Hello friends, my name is Danny Fells. I'm back with you again. I'm talking about depression, addictions, suicide, and suicide survivors. People like myself, that's those that's left behind after a loved one commits suicide. I'll do just a real quick recap for maybe anyone didn't see the first video, but it's been 4 years, 3 months, and 3 weeks ago. I, my family, and a great number of friends lost my son to depression that led him to take his own life. It changed my life forever, and I never dreamed that you could have the pain and the feelings that you had. I thought I was going to die. I wanted to die. And I'm just trying to reach out and help someone. And in that category, for the ones that did see the first video, it's good to have you back on this one. And but anyway, I'll get on now. I had mentioned last time about the every 40 seconds someone dies to suicide, and you know I did the math on that with the first video. And it was 20 minutes, so it's pretty easy and quick to figure. But during that 20 minutes that I spoke and you listened, that means 30 people died by their own hand. It's way too many. And according to the news, what I've seen a few times here lately, it says there is a big spike in suicides. I'm sorry, big spike in suicides right now here lately. And I've looked at the chart myself. If you hadn't, it's not hard to find, as you can see. And you know the chart line on the chart is going something about like that, and then all of a sudden it goes about like that. It's you know, you would expect for there to be more suicides each year because the population grows, but percentage-wise is increased greatly. And I know there's a lot of pressures on everyone today, from the jobs, marriages, children, and whatever. There's just a lot of pressure there, and we just have to do the best we can, you know. But anyway, I had mentioned before about me watching many videos, and I have. And I do a little multitasking when I would be watching a video. I'd more or less listen to a video, and I'd scroll down and read the comments as I was listening. And most of the comments were good. They were loving and caring people that had kind things to say. And that's great. But every now and then I'd see one that sounded like old devil talking. And people would say, they want to die, just let them kill themselves, you know. But I tell you, the people, I can't say for everyone, but I guarantee that most of them really do not want to die. They only want to stop hurting. And I've seen several videos of people that would make an attempt that was, you would know they were very serious about dying, and then they would live. And there's two in particular I'd like to run by you real quick. Both of them were young men. And the first one, I'll mention him. I don't know his name, but both of them young. And this one guy, he took a gun, he put it to his head, and he pulled the trigger and fell out on the floor, and probably should have been dead. But the medics came out and worked with him, resuscitated him, and they got him too, and he did live. But anyway, while the medics were there working on him, and after he'd come to, his grandmother walked in, and he just looked up at her and he said, "Well, grandmother, what are you doing here?" I mean. And I saw the man after he had healed up, and he was in a wheelchair. I think he was quadriplegic. You know, everything from the neck down, he couldn't move anything. A lot worse off than what he was to start with. But he seemed pretty happy to be here. Okay, there's another young man. It's been 19 years or thereabouts ago. It's in the year 2000. This guy's name is Kevin Hines. He jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge to kill himself. To give you a real quick history about the Golden Gate Bridge, you might have heard that people go there to end their lives, and many do. That bridge had opened to the public in 1937, and it wasn't no time at all. People were coming there to kill themselves, like a magnet drawing people. And anyway, from that time that it opened until sometime in the not too far back, I'm not sure when the number was taken, but anyway, there had been 1,700 suicides committed from people jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. When you jump from that bridge, it's between 225 and 245 feet from where you jump to where you hit the water. A lot of people, or some people would think that jumping into water is going to be a soft and fluffy landing. It's not. They say it's more like hitting concrete. And it breaks all the bones, and especially when the ribs go to breaking, they will tend to puncture your internal organs, and nearly all people die there. It's of the 1,700 that have died, somewhere around 40 lived. Okay, this one guy, Kevin Hines, he jumped, and he said, though, just as soon as he turned loose, he said, he thought, man, what am I doing? I didn't really want to do this, but it was too late. I mean, he had already turned loose and jumped. And when you fall, it takes close to 10 seconds before you hit the water. Your body's going about 75 miles per hour. And, you know, if the impact doesn't kill you, there's a good possibility. I mean, you're probably going to be knocked out, and you'd probably drown before somebody could get to you if it's sitting on the bank ready to get you quick as you jumped, you know. I mean, but he did live. The guy, he's doing a good work now. He's done videos. I think he goes places and talks to people, like what I'm trying to do here, you know. And anyway, I hope that something that I can do or say. I'm not doing anything other than spending a little time doing these videos, but I hope within the words that I say, I can say something that will help somebody to not go there. And you know, for people like myself, there's a bit of comfort in hearing other people talk about, you know, being have been where they are at, you know, and it helped me some. Right now, these what I'm about to say, I think this is the most important thing that I'll have to say, and I do have a lot more to say later on, but the most important thing is what we can do to try to prevent some of these happening in the future. I wish I could have backed up before my son died, and I wish I'd known more than what I do now. I wish I knew then what I know now, and maybe I could have done something to change the outcome of that. I miss my son so bad. I mean, no one can really just understand unless you've been there. Other people like me are really the only ones that can understand, but it really is bad. But anyway, there are some things that we all need to watch for. And just because suicide maybe hadn't hit your family, it very well could. It had never come to my family until my son. I never dreamed that my son or anybody else in my family would take their own life. But it can happen, and it does happen. But we can watch. There are some things to watch for. As people, I think most people that commit that act, the biggest part of them, I'd say, have got down in depression. And before you get there, I think you're really, really low. But if you watch your friends and your family, people you work with, people you're around real regular on a daily basis or whatever, you know how they act. And if you see somebody going to acting different or maybe talking, whatever, if somebody acting really sad and hopeless, it's time to talk to them. I'd always talk, and people I work with, they would talk about even how you sleep. If your sleeping pattern has changed drastically one way or the other, either somebody not sleeping hardly any or somebody wanting to stay in the bed all the time. Another thing to watch out for is after someone has been deep in depression and then just a sudden calmness comes over them. It's time to be really watchful right there. Talk to them. There's not a thing wrong with asking somebody about them being depressed. There's not anything wrong with asking someone if they have thought about harming themselves. That's what we really need to do. But sometimes something to look out for is when people will withdraw themselves from the others that they had normally been around. Somebody just wants to be by themselves all the time. And when they hadn't been being that way, talk to them. Changes in their personality, how they would react. Maybe somebody that was just real easygoing, and then all of a sudden they get mad over nothing and things like that, that's another thing is one's personal appearance. If maybe somebody just quit bathing, caring how they looked, if it's dirty clothes or whatever, watch them. Please watch them. Okay. And another thing is if you hear somebody threatening suicide, I have failed right there big time. I used to think that anybody that was going to commit suicide, that they wouldn't make the threats and tell everybody, that they just do it. I was wrong. People will, and I think they're begging, just crying out to you that they need some help. And because my son, I don't know how many times, but a few different times, he had made through suicidal threats. And, the first time it scared me, but second, third time, I guess I sort of got used to it, and I didn't think too much about it. But God only knows. I wish that I had. And we do need to always pray to God. Pray to Him for guidance and to help us to discern and figure out what people's thinking the best we can, but what they say. And sometimes people won't talk, but you can talk to them. And if you're talking to them, at least they're going to get some of what you say, maybe all of it. Okay, my son, though, he had two personality traits. And he really was one that was so full of life, and he'd been the last I would ever thought would have ever done something like that. But there's two things about him. If he was bothered by something, if it was a breakup with a girl or something about a job or whatever, he'd just clam up. He wouldn't talk. And that's not what we need to do. We got to communicate. And, you keep stuff in you like that. It goes to working on you. It does something, if you have a problem yourself, talk to someone, get a close friend or one of your relatives, brother, sister, or your dad, mom, whatever, and talk to them. But watch the people you're around. And if you see any kind of actions like these, talk to them. Talk. And, if somebody does get deep in depression, we never need to self-medicate with alcohol or street drugs or even if it's a prescription drug that you borrowed from somebody else. People need to go to the doctor and be under the care of a good doctor and let him or her get them on a good antidepressant. And, it doesn't always work right the first one they try. There's many different antidepressants. And it's sort of a trial and error thing. They'll try one on somebody, and sometimes it'll work, sometimes it don't. They cut it out and they try a different one, and they keep going. But sooner or later, they'll get one that works, and your life will be better. Okay, that's where he was. And another personality trait that he had, my son, he was so quick to act when he'd do something. He wouldn't think about any dangers, any consequences, or nothing about what could happen, good or bad. He'd get something on his mind, and I don't know if he was sometimes wanting to prove something to himself that he could do something, or maybe to impress his friends or girlfriend or whatever, but I saw him do that time after time. And that's not good. People more like that, we really do need to keep a close eye on. Okay, also there was another young man that I knew, and I knew him very well because I worked with him. And he and my son knew one another. They were about the same age. I think the other guy was about a year older than my son. And he was just exactly like Dan as far as these two personality traits. Holding things in and quick to jump the gun, do whatever, And this young man, he had gone through a divorce, and he had problems, and he locked himself, about a year and a half, locked himself in his garage, and he hanged himself. Please watch your loved ones. And anyway, from there, I was going to try to keep this short, or it's not going to be much, but anyway, I would like to take a minute to give a special thanks to everyone. I'll try to call the names. I couldn't call them all because I don't know them all, but I've had help with the videos, getting them uploaded and putting them together and getting them uploaded and everything. I've had help there from several different people. Besides that, once I got it up, I've had, I know there's been several people that would take it, and they did like it, that they would put it on their Facebook page and share, and please do that. I mean, so many people need to get this message. In the past, the subject of suicide, it was taboo, and nobody wanted to talk about it. I think it is getting a little bit better now, but it's not where it should be. I mean, we really could get these numbers down, and down a lot, and people really need to have an interest. But I do. I thank everybody that has helped with this, and if you're watching right now, I beg you to please give me one of them thumbs up likes. Move on over there to the right and hit that subscribe where my next video comes up. It'll let you know. And I call it my video. It's not my video. It's really not my son's video, even though it's about him. But my Lord has told me to try to do what I could to help somebody. And that's what I'm doing. This is the Lord's video. And I do thank everybody for helping. Continue to help me. Hit the like, subscribe, put it on your Facebook, tell people about it. There are a lot of people hurting. They really need some help. They need a lot of prayer. And pray for me as I do these, if you will. And not just me, but for all the others that have helped out. Pray for us all. We all need prayer. There is power in prayer. I thank you so much for watching. And I pray that you'll share it all you can, any which way you can, and come back with me again. And I just thank you so much. God bless you. Have a good day, and I hope to see you the next time. Goodbye.